Good day guys, welcome back to another episode. Today's video, yes I know the title might be just a little bit clickbaity, but it is true to a certain point. I do want to show you. I've been having problems with my Challenger. Couldn't figure out what it was, didn't look into it real hard, but I had some random lights, a check engine light, and just some problems with it, and the transmission was also in basically a limp mode. I got a computer, I scanned it, found out some problems, opened the hood, was just kind of looking around, taking some observations of stuff, and I came across some wiring that had been chewed up thanks to a lovely rodent of some sort. I have my speculations on what it was, but that really doesn't matter. But what does matter is to know that if you own a newer vehicle of any sort, the covering on your wire harnesses is a biodegradable, which kind of don't want to get into that a whole lot, but me personally, I think it's dumb, because why are we doing that when you have a rubber insulation on the wires? It's copper wire. That's not biodegradable, but we're going to put a wrap on those to make it biodegradable so it's less impact on the environment. Okay, cool, but when you kind of weigh it out, it doesn't really make sense to me personally, but that is not what I'm trying to discuss in this video. But what does need to be known is that the wire insulation on your wires does have plant-based products in them, like soy, peanut oil, rice husks, and so on. So that is what it's composed of. When that gets warm, it can put off kind of a vanilla scent. So if you live somewhere where the weather, like here, gets cold and it gets nasty, it can attract rodents like rabbits, squirrels, mice, anything like that into your engine compartment because it's warm and it's sheltered from the elements. Once they're in there, it smells good and you have a nice plant-based product protecting your wiring harnesses, so they think it's food and it's something to chew on. Really, really nice, but that is something to be aware of, is that rodents chewing up your wiring harness can be very, very common on newer vehicles, like my 2015 Challenger. So that is one thing to be aware, something that if you're having some weird problems, you can check out, like I was with this. I drove it, it was fine, parked it, we had a snowstorm that night, and then didn't drive it for a couple days after that until the snow melted and warmed up, started it, and then I was having some really weird issues. Well, come to find out, that's what it is. So let's take a look so I can show you where I saw that they have chewed on it. I'm also going to make the repair. A few little gripes there with the repair, but once again, kind of like the biodegradableness of your wiring harnesses, kind of up in the air for debate. Not trying to debate that at all. But let's take a look and see what they chewed up. So I was basically just looking around in the engine bay to see if I could see anything. And I noticed on my oil catch can, you can see some nice white, longer hair. Also, there is some on my intake manifold. So I'm noticing some hair in my engine compartment. So I was like, okay, we gotta have a problem. So I start looking at the wiring harness. As you can see, the wiring harness here, this is that wrap that I was telling you about. That's the nice biodegradable stuff that mimics food for rodents. But that is what all of your wiring is covered in, just like your positive wire to your fuse box. As you can see, a nice little hair there. Coming back here to the back of the valve cover, right here is my MAP sensor. This is your manifold ambient pressure sensor. And as you can see, it is chewed off flush. I found the wiring harness here, and I pulled it up, and we have multiple spots in this harness. There's even one further back right here. There's even one further back right here that is chewed up. So it's chewed up here, here, and then of course on the end. So they have chewed up my MAP sensor, which is going to cause a bunch of weird, strange issues on a modern Mopar. So I'm glad that I found that, because I can fix that. Not a big deal. If this is something that happens to you, you might have to go to the dealership. Maybe your insurance will cover it. This could be something you could talk about with your insurance, but a dealership is not going to cover rodents chewing on any of your wires, so it's not going to fall under a warranty unless you have some kind of a rodent warranty plan. I have heard of some companies doing that. I don't know on my car specifically, plus it's out of warranty, so it really didn't matter, but luckily I am a mechanic. That is my full-time job, so I can fix this myself. Which brings me to my next point. Here's the connector, just pulled it off. You can see the wires are chewed nice and flush on it right there. So I have this connector. These connectors, if you are any sort of a mechanic, you do that for a job, or you've messed with connectors like this. This is basically a weather-tight connector. Several different companies make these connectors, and they make the ends that crimp on the wires. These connectors are serviceable. This white in here is a lock. to hold the connectors in. There's also another lock for the connector. This is basically to lock the lock that holds the connector in, but you can pull these wires out. So when you pull the wire out of the connector, this right here, see if I can get the camera to focus, is basically the end that is on the wire that it plugs into. So that is the connector end. You can see that it is crimped right there. And it does have a nice little green weather tight end around the wire. So in the field that I'm in, I've replaced these a lot on big semis. They're not hard. I have the crimping tool, very easy to do. So I was like, not a big deal. I'm gonna buy a little pack of connectors. I'm gonna fix this myself. I'm gonna crimp them on, be quick, easy, done. Well, guess what? Trying to find this end that Dodge uses is really, really hard. I have found it. I did not find a specific part number. The part number I found was for a company that sells just connectors. Dodge couldn't find it. I'm sure they can find it somewhere. So what they have is a nice pigtail harness, is what it's called. That's what this wire's out of. So basically you make a pigtail harness and then you're going to make this to the length that you need. You're gonna solder it in and then you're gonna put these connectors into the connector housing and then plug it back in and it's fixed. The cool part about this is this connector pigtail kit roughly goes for $60. Yeah, that's right, crazy. $60 for a connector. Me personally, being in the field that I am, I think that's absurd. I think it's crazy. But it just goes to show that a lot of places really don't have mechanics anymore. They have parts changers. A mechanic is going to fix it. A parts changer is basically just going to put a new pigtail on, plug it in, quick, easy, done, out the door, charge you as much as possible. But I was stuck in this situation, so I had to buy the pigtail because I got sick and tired of trying to look for these connectors to fix it myself. So if you're thinking, cool, I do want to fix that myself, here is the nice bag, here is the connector housing, multiple different wires, heat shrink, everything you need in this bag to fix this connector yourself. So I went ahead, got the bag. I will show you guys. So in case this is something you've had, here is the part number. That is the Mopar part number for this package. Yes, you can pick it up online for a little bit cheaper than a dealership probably, but tired of having my car down, I want it fixed, I want it going, so I went ahead and paid their nice $60 for my nice little pigtail kit so I can fix it myself. But I guarantee that's a lot cheaper than a harness. I did price out an engine bay harness. You're gonna be in the $500 range, which is crazy. If I take it to the shop, I'm gonna have to pay for all of it out of pocket because it's not a warranted item, so I'm gonna be paying even more when I can fix it myself. So it's enough of me rambling on. Hopefully this video will help some of you out. If you have a weird, crazy problem and you come across this video, I'll show soldering these on, basically making the connector, plugging it in. Super easy, not gonna be hard. As long as you have a soldering iron and some solder, that's what you're gonna need to do it. You're gonna want a solder that has a rosin core because that is going to be your cleaning acid bonding agent for the solder. And me personally, I love using a lead solder because I get a better solder and connection out of a lead solder joint. So we were just going to solder these on. We'll do the 3 of them, get this thing plugged back in, and then that will take care of the problem that I have with the car. But as I mentioned, I just wanted to bring you guys, show you what's going on. I'll show the soldering. Most of it's probably gonna be sped up. If you do want to see a video in the future of soldering, definitely drop that down in the comments below, because if that is something you need to do, I'd be more than glad to make a video to hopefully help you guys out. But with that being said, also please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not. Click the bell, turn on all post notifications so you don't miss a future upload. Also, smash that thumbs up and drop a comment down below. Let's go ahead, get over here, get the wiring harness. I'm gonna cut it off. I'm gonna undo the nice biodegradable wrap on it so I can access those wires. I'm going to strip them back, get these ones, cut them to length, solder them in, put the heat shrink over it so it is a weather tight solder joint, and then plug the sensor back in, as easy as that'll be. so I fixed the map sensor. You saw me just solder those wires real quick. At that point, you can go ahead and just wrap everything with electrical tape. You can get wire loom, you put some wire loom over it, heat shrink the ends of it with some heat shrink, or tape it on some electrical tape. That is totally up to you. There's no right or wrong way. The biggest thing you want to make sure is you put the heat shrink onto the wires that you soldered, just so you have a nice weather tight connection, so they're not going to corrode there. Yes, I know on this engine bay you're not going to get a lot of water or moisture up in here, but you will get some, whether you're washing your engine bay or if you live somewhere with high humidity. It's going to corrode those connections. So that heat shrink has a nice double wall heat shrink with glue inside of it, and that's just basically going to completely seal it up so not any water or anything can get in there, just like the connector that plugs into the map sensor. But I fixed that, fixed those wires, car is good, don't have any check engine lights, transmission's not in the limp mode anymore. So basically your map sensor reads with other multiple sensors to basically tell the engine what is going on, what it's doing, and if it senses something wrong, as that's definitely going to sense something wrong because there's not any connection there, then it's going to cause limp mode, any kind of trouble codes, may cause it not to start or run. So there could be a very wide range of things that it could happen with a sensor being chewed off or a harness being chewed through. Me, personally, I'm very, very happy and excited that I got this thing fixed. It was easy. I spent $60 on that kit. Yeah, I know I complained about it. It does suck, but $60 compared to shop labor rates, $100+ an hour, I really can't beat that. So the $60 was a win for me. Being able to do it for myself was a win. As I mentioned, if you would like me to do some soldering or any kind of wire harness repairs, we do have Operation Chevelle. I know I haven't got a whole lot of videos on it, but I got a lot of parts, going to be doing some stuff, and guess what? There is some wiring that needs to be fixed and done, and soldering is a more effective way of going ahead and connecting those wires rather than a butt connector. So soldering is definitely the way to go. So I definitely have a lot of that I can do on there if that is something that you're interested in and want to see. So just drop that down in the comments below. Hopefully this video was helpful, informative for some of you or all of you, or just fun to watch. I did have some rants about rodents and high dollar parts, but hey, it's life, that's the way it goes. The car's fixed, can't complain a whole lot. But as I mentioned, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you do, click the bell, turn on all post notifications so you don't miss a future upload. Smash that thumbs up and drop a comment down below. All your guys' support is just greatly, greatly appreciated. I can't say it enough. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for stopping in and checking out this video, and I'll catch you all in the next one. And until then, take care.